Welcome back to the House of Faith and Fashion right here on the CW. Get ready for a meaningful conversation with my first guest today, entrepreneur, artist, designer, lifestyle brand owner. She's everything. Elizabeth Sutton of Elizabeth Sutton Studio. Welcome to the House of Faith and Fashion.
Hi, Fairy Godmother. Hi. Thank you for having me.
We're going to go public now that this is my goddaughter, and she's the cover of the House of Faith and Fashion. This is her. And if I could just say that she is, aside from being extraordinarily talented, she is beyond wonderful. I can't say enough because as her fairy godmother, I can't stop. First off, congrats on making the Forbes list of 1,000, top 1,000, but you're so much more because you've had so many articles written about you. You've had so much press. It's amazing. But in your words, Elizabeth, how do you think all this press affected you and your brand?
So I'm very blessed. Actually, almost all my press has been organic. I've had very little PR retained because PR is very expensive, and thank God. Actually, opportunities come to me. That Forbes list was like a complete shocker. I woke up at 8 a.m. in bed and saw an email saying like, congratulations, you've been nominated to the Forbes Next 1,000 list. It's one of the top 1,000 entrepreneurs in the United States. Small business was the backbone of the U.S. economy during COVID, and we nominated you as one of the first 250 inaugural series. And I was like, what? I was literally crying with happiness. It's crazy.
At all. You know, I'm not shocked with any press you get. I just go, oh, tell me something I don't already know.
So I always say that my art started as a happy accident. I am not a trained artist. I never took an art class. I never took a design class. I started painting about 9 years ago. As I was going through a lot of loss, we had actually just lost all our money and I couldn't afford the art that I envisioned on the wall anymore. I was doing a fancy renovation on my son's nursery and I painted on a Sunday. So the talent was really God-given. Through that time, in the course of 2 years, they went through a lot of loss, a lot of trauma in a very short amount of time. And I don't know that I realized it at the time, but in hindsight, my art and my meditative process and technique was very much part of my therapeutic process to get out of my brain from all the trauma I was going through. And the colors, you know, I'm known for all my bright colors. I think subconsciously that just added happiness to my brain. There's so much healing power to creativity in general, music, fashion.
I want to congratulate you on your first mural in Israel.
First of all, thank you. It's a big honor for me. It's the first time I was bringing my art to Israel, and it came to Israel in a big way. My mural is at 1 Hatshnufa Street in Tel Aviv. So if you're there.
Can you give my audience insights in how to successfully start your own business? Because you're like the queen of it.
First of all, put a lot of pressure on yourself. Step one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I started my business with nothing but problems. And one of the things that forced me to succeed is I created a necessity. I was desperate. I had no other option or I was going to be in a lot of trouble. So that was the first thing for me. Mm-hmm. Don't give up, right? Being your own boss, you're going to encounter so many setbacks. You're the last person to get paid and no one else cares as much as you. When you want to get something done, no one's going to do it as quickly as you want to get it done because they're worried about their own. So if you want something from someone, sorry, can I say that? You want something,
but okay, bleep, go ahead.
They're worried about their own stuff. So if you want someone to do something, you need to follow up. You need to be tenacious, resilient, aggressive, not afraid of the word no. I really suggest that you get organized from the very beginning. That's something I wish someone had told me when I started. I started my business completely backwards with no previous experience. And I didn't know anything about technologies and systems and SOPs and CRMs and to make sure that all your accounting is in order and your LLCs are filed, et cetera, et cetera. I really, even though it's annoying and sounds silly, but if you're thinking of starting your own business, be organized from the very beginning. It will get you much further.
Okay, so as a mom and an entrepreneur and having this lucrative business, how, I can't answer this question myself, but how do you define balance?
I don't think there is such thing as balance for a working mom, and for sure not for a single working mom. I think it was Sheryl Sandberg who said it. You can, if there are 3 things that are very important to you, you get to choose 2. right? You can't get
It's
all
true.
three.
It's true. And two if you're lucky, actually. Two if you're lucky.
Yeah, definitely not all three at the same time. You can have all three, but not at the same time. So
Right.
now I'm focused on my kids and my career. My personal life definitely takes a setback because of that. And when I experience love or whatever, if it's worthwhile, I put a little less into my career and probably even into my kids to create space for it. But you definitely can't have it all at the same time.
No. But you do it all. So can you explain how many different products you have? Because here I am holding one of my many clutches that every place that I have, I take an Elizabeth Sutton clutch. I have my napkin rings. You can't see my belt. I don't have the wallpaper behind me. So can you explain to all the things that you have to offer in your brand?
So I started as a fine artist, and inadvertently I expanded into product and licensing. I have 5 award-winning best-selling tile collections for Tile Bar that get installed in some of the most premier hospitality venues in the world. Mario Carbone's restaurant Contessa in Miami, the whole floor. So many hotels, the Fairmont Hotel that's being built in California, the El Conquistador, Capital One, Whole Foods, big brands really buy my tile. And I'm about to launch a 6th collection at HD Expo in a month and a half, which is going to win design awards. I promise you, it's a terrazzo marble collection that's going to win awards, just like my.
So can I wave my fairy godmother wand? I will raise my fairy godmother wand that it will happen, because usually when I do that, it happens. But how do you find all these partnerships and collaborations? I mean, you have so many. How do you go about doing this?
Really straight up hustle. It's pretty crazy. And even like experts who I now speak to are like, I don't understand how you got these licensing deals. In the very beginning of my career, even before I had a brand, I just hustled these deals and my designs were strong. So they got picked up by stores, won awards. My first royalty-free licensing deal was for a brand named Barry Lynn Accessories, owned by
Yes.
She's a mentor of mine, just like you. And my designs for her got picked up by Saks, Neiman's, Nordstrom's, Bergdorf's. Bergdorf's chose them to be in their Christmas ad campaign on New York City bus stops, in the New York Times Sunday Style section. Talk about like Carrie Bradshaw moment. And that was like very early on in my career. And then I designed the tiles. I hustled myself a deal. The head of marketing at Tile Bar told me they weren't accepting collaborations for 3 more years. I said, just watch. I literally hustled myself a deal, signed the deal. That night I was like, time to teach myself how to do graphic design. I designed 3 tile collections that night. Came to market 3 months later at the Art Digest Design Show, where we won Best in Show. Showed at the HD Expo, also won Best in Show out of millions of designs, 16 design categories. Yeah, I hustled.
You're a superstar. You're a superstar. So are you ready for my 3 rapid questions that I ask everybody? Even though I know the answers to it, you could tell the audience what the answers are. How much faith do you need to be in business?
100%.
Right? Without a doubt, right? And do you think that your talents are God-given?
Also 1,000. That's not even a question.
It's like a duh, right?
Yes,
because I know the answer to this. But here's a tricky one for you. How should a person dress in a house of worship?
Modest.
Ooh, modest. I like this answer from you. This is a good one.
House of worship. I mean, when I go to shul, I'm looking all modest. I look like a very, very stark.
Very stark. Yeah, nobody, listen, I'm going to need Yiddish Hebrew translation on the bottom, but stark means like very to the point and very exact as to how she feels she should be dressed in a house of worship, especially in front of God. But Elizabeth, I adore you. I know that everybody adores you. And I'm honored that you're on the cover of my first book, and my second book. I am carrying one of your strong bags, which is like my motto. So thank you for visiting me at the House of Faith and Fashion and bringing my pages to life. And tell us, how is the best way we're going to find you?
First of all, you should follow along on Instagram at Elizabeth Sutton Collection. I am always hosting events, launching new products, collections, fine art activations at some of the nicest hotels around the world, cooking, my kids. So for overall inspiration, to shop my collection, ElizabethSuttonCollection.com, my tiles on tilebar.com. I design wallpaper, fashion accessories,
everything.
Sorts of things. Yeah, everything.
You have an Elizabeth Sutton world, and thank you for sharing your Elizabeth Sutton world with us. Thank you so much. Up next on the House of Faith and Fashion, meet entrepreneur, image architect, and celebrity stylist Sandra Majji. She will be visiting us and having another meaningful conversation. But you know, I want her to like comment on my like cowboy core chic stuff. Anyway, we'll be right back, so stay tuned.